French President Emmanuel Macron is set to make his first official visit to Iraq Wednesday, where he hopes to help Baghdad reassert its sovereignty despite regional tensions. Coming straight from a two-day trip to Beirut, the capital of crisis-hit Lebanon, President Macron will be the most significant leader to visit Iraq since Prime Minister Mustafa al-Kadhimi came to power in May. On his final night in Beirut, the French leader announced he was heading to Baghdad to launch an initiative alongside the United Nations to support a process of sovereignty. Prime Minister-designate Mustafa Adib began talks Wednesday to form a new cabinet that will be tasked with leading Lebanon through deep reforms needed to salvage the economy and gain much-needed international assistance. Premier-designate Adib started his consultations with members of parliament at Ain al-Tineh with a meeting with former Prime Minister Tamam Salam, who said that politicians must work in the public interest to form a new government in the quickest time possible. The new leader, like his predecessor Hassan Diab, has vowed to form a cabinet of specialists, which implies that it will not include politicians representing the country's main political parties. Tunisia's parliament approved a technocratic government in a confidence vote on Wednesday, hoping to end months of political instability and focus on tackling worsening economic and social problems. There were 134 votes in favor and 67 against forming the government. The debate, which started on Tuesday, was held amid a tussle for influence between the president and major parties. Under plans to revamp the government and revive the economy, Prime Minister-designate Hisham al-Mishishi gathered the ministers of finance, investment and economy into a single department led by liberal economist Ali Kouli, chief executive of Arab Banking Cooperation in Tunisia. Japan's ruling party will vote on September 14th on Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's replacement, an official confirmed Wednesday as powerful Chief Cabinet Secretary Yoshihide Suga consolidate his front-runner status in the race. A vote in Parliament expected to endorse the Liberal Democratic Party's new leader is likely to follow on September 16th. Key Liberal Democratic Party factions have already thrown their support behind Suga, who is expected to formally announce his candidacy later on Wednesday. The White House has pushed back on concerns expressed by the World Health Organization after a U.S. health official said a coronavirus vaccine might be approved without completing full trials. The Washington Post reported on Wednesday the Trump administration will not join a global effort to develop, manufacture and distribute a coronavirus vaccine because of the involvement of the WHO. The organization said recently about 172 countries are engaging with the WHO's COVID-19 vaccine plan to ensure equitable access to vaccines. According to a new report by the American Academy of Pediatrics and the Children's Hospital Association, nearly 480,000 child COVID-19 cases have been reported in the United States since the onset of the pandemic. The report said while children represented only 9.5% of all cases in states reporting cases by age, a total of 476,439 children have tested positive for COVID-19. The overall rate is 631 cases per 100,000 children in the population. 70,330 new child cases were reported from August 13th to the 27th, a 17% increase in child cases over 2 weeks. 6 months after the coronavirus arrived in Pakistan, the country appears to have dodged the worst of the pandemic, baffling health experts and dampening fears its crowded urban areas and hospitals will be overrun. Following an initial surge, the number of infections has plummeted in recent weeks, with COVID-19 deaths hovering in the single digits each day. While neighboring India tallies hundreds of fatalities, officials in Pakistan have proposed numerous hypotheses for their country's seeming ability to weather the pandemic, crediting everything from the young population and the hot and humid climate to unproven claims of natural immunity. Bhutan, the remote Himalayan kingdom famous for measuring gross national happiness, on Tuesday took the first steps to lift its coronavirus lockdown, saying there was limited community transmission. The country of 750,000 people between India and China, one of the few nations in the world that have yet to register a virus death, has so far recorded 225 infections. The Health Ministry said the lockdown was being gradually lifted as there had been an uptick in cases in recent days, but no widespread community outbreak. The World Health Organization started on Wednesday a vaccination campaign in southeastern Somalia's Baneda administrative region to vaccinate some 400,000 children against polio and measles. James Elder, UNICEF Chief of Communications for Eastern and Southern Africa, said the campaign is a signal that deposit challenges. It is practically possible to organize such mass campaigns and other routine health services through effective planning, coordination and implementation of appropriate risk mitigation measures. The official said after 4 years without a single case of wild polio, the African region has been certified free of wild polio virus. Protesters demanded answers on Wednesday as they gathered in a South Los Angeles neighborhood where sheriff's deputies shot and killed a black man during a violent confrontation the previous day. According to the sheriff's department, the man, identified as 29-year-old Dejon Casey, was riding his bicycle when deputies tried to stop him for a code violation. The shooting came as protests against police violence and racism have roiled the country in recent months, following the killing of George Floyd at the hands of police in Minneapolis. The Prime Minister of Mauritius said Wednesday 2 sailors were dead and 2 others missing after a tugboat assisting in a major oil spill cleanup off the Indian Ocean island collided with a barge. A search was underway for the missing crew after the accident late Monday as the boat returned from where a tanker crashed into a reef in late July, leaking more than 1,000 tons of oil into the island's picturesque waters. The spill was declared an ecological disaster for the Indian Ocean archipelago, and a massive cleanup operation was launched to scrub the coastline and Azores seas of thick sludge.